Hello everybody and welcome back to Bring Your Own Popcorn, and in today's video we are going to be talking about the very strange trend that circulated recently, nicknamed Barbenheimer. So if you've been living under a rock for the last month and somehow don't know what Barbenheimer is, it's the very strange trend that circulated recently online of going to see both the movies Barbie and Oppenheimer in the same day, one after another, as a double bill. I'm not really sure how it started. It just seemed like one day it wasn't there, and then one day everybody was talking about it, and everyone was going to see both Barbie and Oppenheimer in the same day. I can only think that maybe the internet found it funny because they were being released in the same day. So I don't know if the internet found it funny, thought that it would be funny to go see two films that are very tonally different as a double bill. However, I am glad that it's happened because I think if this trend didn't happen, I don't think Barbie or Oppenheimer would have made the money that it did. So I have now seen both Barbie and Oppenheimer. I've actually seen Oppenheimer twice. And in today's video, I'm going to be discussing my opinions on both films and deciding what one is better. The answer is Oppenheimer. Okay, that was a quick video. That didn't take long at all. Okay, so maybe it's not quite as clear-cut as that. I did enjoy both films a heck of a lot, but spoiler alert, I do think that Oppenheimer is probably the better film of the two. So we are going to go in order of which I saw the movies. So the first film I will be reviewing is Oppenheimer.
Is anyone ever going to tell the truth about what's happening here?
Out of the two films, I was actually a little bit more hyped to go and see Barbie. I was excited for Oppenheimer, but I kind of knew what I was expecting with Oppenheimer. I was expecting your average, good Christopher Nolan flick. And Barbie looked a little bit more out there, a little bit more different. So that's why I was more excited to go see Barbie. However, never in a million years did I expect Oppenheimer to be this good. I thought Oppenheimer was filmmaking at its absolute best. We'll start by talking about direction. Christopher Nolan, what a director he is. He just keeps surprising me. I actually sometimes forget how good a director he actually is until I see his new movie that's came out. He is such a fantastic director. He's directed Inception, The Prestige, The Dark Knight, Interstellar, so many great films. However, I think that Oppenheimer might just be his masterpiece. He manages to take what should be just your average true story biopic character study and turn it into something grand and incredibly ambitious. I thought the film was just shot superbly. I thought every shot was absolutely brilliant, down to the last minute detail. It was so meticulously shot. The cinematography is just beautiful throughout. The effects are just jaw-dropping. And each scene is shot in a way to evoke certain emotions from you, and it does that so incredibly well. The anxiety and the fear that I felt from some of the scenes in this movie is unmatched to any movie ever. The editing, once again, I thought was absolutely superb and is used in such a smart way to evoke emotions from you. One complaint I have heard a lot of people bring up about this movie is the sound mixing, and that is something that Nolan, his filmography in general, gets a lot of flack for. And I didn't actually think the sound mixing was bad in this film. I actually thought the sound mixing was pretty damn good. Some people are saying that the talking in the movie is very, very quiet and any other sound is unbearably loud. I didn't find this to be the case at all. I heard pretty much everything that was being said in the movie, and any line that I did miss, I picked it up on a second watch. The sound mixing is genuinely fantastic in some of the scenes, especially the scene where they test the atomic bomb for the first time. The sound mixing is that good, it actually made me jump out of my seat.
3, 2, 1.
This is easily my favourite Nolan movie. His direction here is above any other film in his career. As for the script, I thought the script was incredibly well written. Something that Barbie and Oppenheimer strangely have in common is they present these relevant topics and present them in the best way possible. In terms of Oppenheimer, you genuinely leave the cinema with a newfound thankfulness to being alive, but also the dread of what is going to happen to the human race. It is so incredibly difficult. I don't think people appreciate how difficult it is for a film to get you to feel two polarizing emotions at the same time, yet this film pulls it off absolutely superbly. The script, similar to the direction, is so well meticulously crafted. It is easily one of the best character studies in the history of cinema, especially as we watch our main character deal with the guilt of creating the atomic bomb. It is such a great concept for a true story film. Imagine the amount of blood on your hands you would feel creating a weapon that killed hundreds of thousands, and these emotions that the character feels is explored so incredibly well. The story is so entertaining and captivating and enthralling. It shouldn't be this enthralling. It is a very dialogue heavy film, yet the dialogue is written so well that you're so enthralled in what's going on in front of you. The film jumps backwards and forwards in time at multiple occasions in the movie, and this film is honestly a masterclass on how flashbacks should be handled. Not once during the film was I confused on where we were at with the story, and for a film that is so flashback heavy, this is incredibly difficult to pull off. And yet this film pulls it off incredibly well. The film's pacing, especially seeing as the movie is 3 hours long, is how a film of this length should be paced. As I said, the film is 3 hours long, and I could have happily watched this story unfold over a further 3 hours. You genuinely do not feel the runtime because you're so engrossed in the story. Genuinely, it feels like you watched this movie for about an hour and a half. Also, the ending of the film. Wow, it's genuinely one of my favourite endings in cinematic history. It is just absolutely perfect and honestly sent chills down my spine both times I watched the movie. Every single performance in the movie is also just absolutely flawless. Cillian Murphy's performance of Oppenheimer was haunting and just perfect, and I'm predicting right now that he will pick up the Oscar for this movie. The entire supporting cast is fantastic too, from Robert Downey Jr. to Emily Blunt, to Matt Damon, to Florence Pugh, to Rami Malek. Absolutely everyone is given the performance of their careers. The soundtrack to this film is also incredibly atmospheric and suits the tone down to a T. It is an absolute fantastic soundtrack. Overall, I thought that Oppenheimer was cinema at its absolute peak. The direction is mind-blowingly good. The script is just so fantastic and so enthralling, and the performances complement the script so incredibly well. I know we still have 4 months left of the year, but I honestly can't see this film being topped as my favourite of the year. So now, let's move on to talk about Barbie.
Barbie in the real world. That's impossible.
If this got out, this could mean extremely weird things for our world.
This would be
catastrophic!
We haven't played with Barbie since we were like 5 years old. Oh.
No one rests until this doll is back in a box.
Even if nobody else sings along.
Humans only have one ending.
Get that Barbie!
Ideas live forever.
When Barbie was first announced, I was not excited for the movie at all. I thought it was a blatant cash grab of a film. However, with each little detail that came out about it, I started getting more and more excited for it. From Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling being cast as Barbie and Ken, and Greta Gerwig being cast to direct and co-write with Noah Baumbach, who done Marriage Story. The details that came out about this movie just seemed so crazy and so out there, and I was just so incredibly excited for it. And then when the first trailer dropped, I watched it and I thought, this looks like a heck of a lot of fun. And whilst the movie was a heck of a lot of fun, it also had a surprising amount of heart to it. As I said, the film is directed by Greta Gerwig and her direction is absolutely jaw-dropping. The film has a very magical and imaginative feel to it, which I honestly think hasn't been captured this well since The Wizard of Oz that came out in 1939. The story is incredibly fun, whilst also being incredibly mature at the same time. The film deals with very mature, serious and relevant themes that I honestly think more films should be exploring in our day of age. And I think that Barbie deals with these topics in the best way possible for the most part. Whilst at some points I thought the film was a little bit confused on the overall message that they were trying to get across, I thought they handled the topics very, very well, with me being moved to near tears by the end of it. The film maybe leans slightly too much on the all men are monsters trope, with 95% of the men in this movie being egotistical jerks, and basically saying all men are like this, when that's not the case. However, for the story that it was trying to tell, I do think that this trope was probably a necessary step to take, so I'm going to cut it some slack. At the end of the day, this is a film made to showcase how incredible women are, and this film showcases that exceptionally. In some scenes, it was a real eye-opener to how some women can be treated in society these days, and honestly made me ashamed to even say I'm part of the male gender, which I don't think is a bad thing at all. However, as I said, the film, whilst mature, can also be extremely fun. You have fun action sequences, fun musical numbers, dancing, brilliantly written, hilarious dialogue. This film is an absolute blast from start to finish. The film is also incredibly self-aware, which leads to honestly some of the funniest scenes in the movie, with Mattel, who are the company that created Barbie, even making fun of themselves in some places, which I honestly respect so much. In terms of acting, I thought the performances were all great. You could tell that every single one of these actors was having an absolute blast making this movie. Margot Robbie was just the perfect choice to play Barbie, and she absolutely steals the show here. Every time she's on the screen, she absolutely excels in her performance, and honestly showcases why she is one of the best talents in Hollywood right now. I thought that Ryan Gosling gave us a fantastic performance as Ken, and honestly, his character gets the most laughs of the film. His comedic timing is just absolutely perfect. It's honestly a bit strange that Robert Downey Jr., who played Louis Strauss, a very important man in history, and Ryan Gosling playing Ken could both be going up for the same Oscar this year. I thought everyone else, the full supporting cast, was just perfect in the movie. All the Kens were great, all the Barbies were great, and I thought that Helen Mirren was a fantastic choice as the narrator. Overall, I thought that Barbie was an absolutely amazing film and is one of the best examples of balancing heart and humour without feeling tonally all over the place. So in conclusion, what film out of Barbie and Oppenheimer do I think that you should go see? The answer is both of them. I think that both these films are brilliant and important for very different reasons, and I think it's worth your time checking out both of them. However, if you only have time to watch one of these movies, I will say that Oppenheimer slightly trumps Barbie for me. I do think that Oppenheimer is worth your time a little bit more. So thank you guys for watching this video. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.